This is going to sound like kind of a dumb question, but I think it's actually worth talking about because of the way that words are used or misused so often these days. What is racism?
I don't know. Um, Racism, if you go back and see what people like Martin Luther King and Bayard Rustin and the other civil rights leaders thought the word racism meant in in the early '60s, they said that it means when one person says to another, "I don't recognize you as the same as me because of your race." That's a very intuitive definition for most people. No doubt it's blurry at the edges, like any concept is, but it's pretty clear to people what that kind of racism means. But then in 1967, there was a book written called Black Power by Stokely Carmichael and Charles Hamilton, which used the phrase institutional racism for the first time, which, there's many synonyms for it: structural racism, systemic racism. And the idea here was that racism is not reducible to individuals. It's not reducible to the attitudes that one human being holds towards another, whether conscious or not, but it somehow is a feature of the system itself. Um, and so, what that has done is, I think it's as Douglas Murray often says, a writer I admire, um, the anti-racist movement and the anti-fascist movement has had a supply and demand problem, which is that the number of true racists and fascists used to be huge, and now it's very, very small. And like any movement that actually achieves its aims, any movement that is in favor of reducing something, to the extent that it's successful, it obviates the need for its own existence. It's a sad paradox of laudable organizations. If you're Mothers Against Drunk Driving, to take a random example, and you actually succeed in reducing drunk driving by 90%, you kind of eliminate the need for your own existence, which is, no kind of reward for doing great work. So I'm sympathetic to that paradox, but um, what it's meant is that the definition of racism has expanded and expanded and expanded to the point where now, basically anything can be called racist, and no one will challenge it. If white people move into a neighborhood, that's gentrification and it's racist. If white people move out of a neighborhood, that's white flight and it's racist. Um, much of it doesn't make sense. It's not the kind of racism that the civil rights movement was about fighting. And frankly, it diminishes the power of the word racism, which is a very important word.